Shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Hope everybody's having a peaceful Sabbath day. Those that are celebrating the Sabbath on this day, we do know that we have other Sabbath keepers out there. So hope y'all Sabbaths were or are going to be good as well. Um, Today we got a Sabbath class. We kind of on a roll, man, doing Sabbath classes, man, doing classes on the Sabbath day. Um, but today's title is Godfidence, right? Play on words, the play on the word of confidence. We're going to say Godfidence, right? And um, to put this lesson or class in a brief, we're going to talk about how once God acts in your life, you get a sense of confidence, right? We know there was a famous saying or quote from a rapper that said, "You wasn't with me shooting in the gym," right? Because when you shooting in the gym when nobody's there, you got a sense of confidence when it's game time because you know how much work you put in, right? And that goes with everything. You know what I'm saying? You perform best at school because you know how much you studied. You perform best at work because you know how much you prepared. You perform, the best in your marriage because you were practicing good habits before you got married, right? You get a sense of confidence when you are established. You get a sense of confidence when you know that you got something perfected. So, Godfidence. And the reason why we're going through this is because a lot of us, we don't have Godfidence, right? Which could be synonymous with faith, right? A lot of us, we don't have confidence. We don't see God working in our life, so we act as if things are up in the air, right? Or um, the things that God's done in our life, we forget about, and we lose the confidence of having faith in times of sickness, having faith in times of trouble, having faith in times of tribulation and temptation. We lose the confidence and the confidence to get weather through the storm because the storms are going to keep coming, right? But without further ado, I'm Azrael. Got the brother Denal alongside with me. The brother Yash, the brother Yeshaya may be popping on, right? And we're going to talk about this, man. We want to give all glory, honor, and praise to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who is um, our Lord, our one Lord, and He sent us a instrument of salvation in the form of a man, a mortal man, right? That showed us that He is the way, the truth, and the life, and He gave us an example of how to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments perfectly. The instrument of salvation would be who the world knows as Jesus Christ, right? His Son. Um, we're the hopeful elect, man. We got a Sabbath class for y'all. So the first thing I want to do is get the definition of confidence, right? We kind of start these Sabbath classes off with definitions or videos, but the definition of confidence, if you had to put confidence in your own words, what would you say? Denal?
Self-security.
It's self-security.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of people might think confidence um, has to do with like pride and like the brother said, self security. Right. What do you mean by self security?
Uh, you're secure in yourself as far as mentally, emotionally, physically, which gives you an edge in life because you walk around with a sense of surety, not not half stepping, not indecisive, not hesitant on things, but very sure in everything you do in life, and you typically have no regrets about things you say, wear, or do.
Man. So in short, you trust yourself. Um, when we're gonna get this definition pulled up, get the definition of confidence. You could read the definition.
Confidence, the feeling or belief that one can rely on someone or something. Firm trust.
right? Someone or something. And yes, that someone can be yourself, right? Or something. That something in this in this context of this lesson is God, right? The most high God, right? A feeling or belief that one Lord, one God, right? The most high, right? Or Salakia, one as in us can rely on something, which is the Lord, the most high God, right?
And if you know, even with the makeshift definition that I came up with, man, things some of the things that I mentioned were like being able to go out and not be hesitant, but being sure. Um, having that self assurance, and a lot, and that comes with having confidence in God, right? Going out and making decisions and stuff like that, and living your life according to the principles of the Bible, and knowing what He can do for you. So they all kind of go together. Like down here in the second bullet point, one of the synonyms is self assurance, right? Self confidence, self reliance, belief in oneself. In the truth, not really believing in yourself, but believing in the power that lies within you. Like Christ says, how He is in the Father and the Father is in Him, and if we believe in Him, that the Father would be in us as well, right? And so it's the same thing when the Father is within you, when that Holy Spirit takes a hold of you, you can go through life, being able to trust in your decisions, trust in the Most High's plan for your life, because we know He orders our steps. At the end of the day, what it just boils down to.
Come on, man. Reliance. I like that one. Dependence, right? You rely on God, and God gives you a sense of surety, right? Self-reliance, right? Like the brother said, self-assurance. Depend on God, and He will give you self-confidence, self-reliance, self-assurance, because ultimately it's not you that's doing it, right? When we look at Elijah, and he was not afraid because he knew that God had angels surrounding him, right? That's Godfidence. All right. So we're gonna go. What we're gonna do is we're gonna read an account in Judges with Gideon, right? Um, so surnamed Jerubbaal, right? But Gideon. We're gonna talk about Gideon and his confidence, and what we're gonna do is also get examples from Gideon and other examples in the Bible of other men um, before their confidence and after their confidence, so we can see how they move, how they speak, how they talk, and how their line of thinking, right? Before and after God worked on their life, worked for them in their life, or performed a miracle or whatever. Before God performed in their life, we're gonna see how they were acting, right, and how their faith was, and then we're gonna see how after God acted in their life, how they were acting, how they was moving and speaking, right? So we're gonna get Judges 6. We're gonna go to verse 12. We're gonna start at verse 12, right? You can read this for me.
Con. The book of Judges, chapter 6, and verse 12. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him and said unto him, The Lord is with thee, thou mighty man of valor.
And also bear with me, man. I wrote this lesson out like a week ago, a week and some days ago. So I'm gonna be looking at my notes, man, to remember the talking points, right? But Salakia, read that from the top again.
Judges 6 and 12. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him and said unto him, The Lord is with thee, thou mighty man of valor.
Right? The Lord is with thee, thou mighty man of valor. Right? So sometimes we got to be reminded that the Lord is with us, man. And sometimes he'll send an angel. That angel could be a friend, that could be a family member, it could be your child, right? You could be freaking out and your child be like, I thought we were supposed to serve the most high, right? And that's all because you instilled in that child what you were supposed to instill. So full circle moment, that child come back and ensure you, right? I always say, when we planting seeds, we're hoping that that tree grow up and the tree give us shade, right? So yes, we're doing the work to grow the tree, but eventually that tree is going to come back and that tree is going to provide something for us, whether that be shade, whether that be um, a lot of wood to build a house and a foundation, or whether that be fruit, right? We give nurture and care for the seed, and then it'll come back and reward us. But verse 13, shalom to the brother Yeshaya.
Shalom.
Verse 13. And Gideon said unto him, O my Lord, if the Lord be with us, why then is all this befallen us?
Right, read that slow. So this is Gideon before the Most High God acted in his life, right? Acted on behalf of him, right? Because a lot of us, man, we may see the Most High act in other people's lives, but if the Most High not dealing with us, a lot of times we don't have that same confidence that the next might have, right? Some people get confidence in seeing, oh, I seen the Most High work through Moses. Moses split the Red Sea, and some people like, man, I don't know how Moses split the Red Sea. God didn't speak to me. I didn't hear God's voice, right? We get those sect of people that say, I never heard God's voice. I never had any spiritual encounters, and they don't have that same confidence as somebody that did, right? So this is before God has worked personally in Gideon's life, and he's questioning God, right? If God be for us, why has all this happened to us? And as we go and we preach and evangelize and teach on the street, right? A lot of our people got the same answer. Why would God put us in this predicament? Right? If he love us, we're supposed to be the chosen. If he for us, why is all this happening? Right? And that's because the Most High God has turned his face away from us, as the scriptures say, right? And we don't have Godfidence. We haven't seen him work personally in our life, right? A lot of us, right? But pick up where you left off, and where?
And where be all his miracles which our fathers told us of?
See that? Where be all the miracles which our fathers told us of? Right? The miracles and the testimonies end up being fairy tale stories. And that's why you talk to a lot of brothers and sisters in person, and they say, I can't believe the Bible, man. He walked on water. I don't know, man. He split the Red Sea. I don't know, man. I hear you, but that stuff sound make believe, man. It's because we don't have no Godfidence, right? But if we see God act on our behalf in this lifetime, then we'll believe in miracles. We'll believe and have confidence in our situations to heal people and to heal ourselves and to weather the storm and to get through our temptations and get through our addictions, right? Whatever those addictions may be. We deny the power that God has given us because we don't have confidence, right? Keep reading.
Saying, did not the Lord bring us out from Egypt? But now the Lord has forsaken us and delivered us into the hands of the Midianites.
Right? We think we're forsaken sometimes, right? And keep in mind, this is before Gideon had Godfidence. We're going to compare after he got Godfidence and to his speech and his actions, right? Read verse 14.
And the Lord looked upon him and said, go in this thy might, and thou shalt save Israel from the hand of the Midianites. Have not I sent thee?
Right? So sometimes, man, we got to follow instructions, man, even if we're a little scary, because when we're scared and we follow instructions anyway, that's when God performs in our life to give us the confidence, right? Whenever you're doing something in life where you have to break through, right? And you didn't think that you could do it, that's where your confidence comes from. Right? You may see somebody that, for example, I wasn't watching it, but somebody was watching it while I was in Ohio, the story of the Wayans brothers, right? And the Wayans brothers, they said, man, it wasn't until our older brother, or I can't remember who got famous first. It wasn't until our older brother broke that barrier and we saw him on TV to where we realized this is possible. Then after that, it was over with. After that, he said, after that, we knew that we was all going to be on TV because we were able to see that barrier be broken. And sometimes it's scary, but you got to trust the process, man, and do it so that God can perform that miracle in your life, so that you can have confidence for the rest of your life afterwards. Right?
That's another thing too. Having confidence in the Most High to go out and do certain things. because you might even have self-confidence, you might have self-assurance. Like I'm sure the Wayans brothers, they used to joke a lot all the time just to themselves, and they probably thought to themselves that they were pretty funny, but they probably didn't know that they can make the world laugh on a world stage on television, right? So when they finally seen their brother do it, if they finally got that confidence, that trust in knowing in their abilities, right? The thing about this truth is when you come into this truth, the Most High is the older brother. The Most High is in Christ is what we can see, right? And to give us that confidence to go out and do the same thing like the brother's going into, right? So sometimes people can have that self-confidence, right? But it only lasts you so long. That's like going into the parable of the guy that took his talent and hid it, right? He knew he was confident that he had his own talent, but he wasn't confident to go out there and multiply it, right? And so it's the same thing when we see our big brother Christ out there, right? On stage making people laugh. You know what I'm saying? We are confident that we can go out and make people laugh as well, right?
Oh man, that's a mighty example, man. Christ would be the first Wayne's brother to break the barrier. You saw Christ walk on water, you should say to yourself, like the other Wayne's brothers did, man, if he could do it, I know I can do it. And that's not blasphemy because Christ literally told us greater works are in us than that he did.
Not only that, he invited them out on the water. So he was expecting them to walk on water as well. Right? He wasn't supposed to be the only person in the Bible that could successfully walk on water without drowning.
Right. And so whenever the disciples failed, right, like if Peter drowned in the water, or if they couldn't catch fish, or they couldn't cast out demons, right, whenever they did that, what did Christ say? Christ said, have you not seen all the things that I've been doing and teaching you since I've been with you? How long must I be with you and show you these things? Right. Because he's saying y'all should get confidence in seeing me do it. Right. And that's the confidence that they was lacking. Right. They were supposed to have that confidence from seeing Christ do it, but they didn't have that confidence because they didn't see it happen in their personal life. Right. It didn't happen for them. Right. But the Most High God's Son, Christ said that greater works are in us, right? And we can go back to the Wayans brothers. Now the conversation is not the first Wayne that got famous. The conversation now, a lot of times, is which Wayne is the funniest, right? So you had one Wayne to make the way for the other Waynes, but now all the other Waynes are caught up, and now they're saying which one is the funniest, right? And that's how the Most High God and Christ wants it to be now. He wants all of us to be on the same playing field, right? We're not on the same playing field as Christ. We'll never be, right? He's going to be Lord of Lords, King of Kings, right? But Christ does call us his brother, and he does call us to do greater works than him, right? Let's read verse 15.
Verse 15, and he said unto him, O my Lord, wherewith shall I save Israel? Behold, my family is poor in Manasseh, and I am the least in my father's house.
Right. A lot of us, we think just like Gideon. We get scary. How am I going to save Israel? My family is poor. I'm living check to check. I ain't got no land. I ain't got no money. I don't own my house, right? my family is poor in Babylon, right? My family is poor in Brazil. My family is poor in Guinea. My family is poor in Dominican Republic, right? In Santo Domingo, right? My family is poor. How am I the least in my father's house, but you expect me to do these great things? How you expect me to wake up your people, right? That's a spiritual battle that I think is impossible, right? We tell the truth to people on the street, and they say, "Oh, y'all working an impossible task, right? Y'all working an impossible task." And we say, "Hey, but we got the confidence that we're doing the right thing, and eventually we're gonna get there. We're gonna get that elect number, right?" So let's skip down to verse 22, right? So Gideon acting a little scary right now, man. Right? He's looking at his circumstances and what he's got to deal with, right? And a lot of us, we say the same thing, right? We're poor and we're nobodies, right?
Come, verse 22 or 23?
22.
22. And when Gideon perceived that he was an angel of the Lord, I like that. Gideon said, Alas, O Lord God, for because I have seen an angel of the Lord face to face.
Right? Verse 23.
And the Lord said unto him, Peace be unto thee. Fear not, thou shalt not die.
Right? So the angel said, you're not going to die, right? And Gideon noticed it was an angel. You know, he understand it was miraculous. Now he's understanding, oh, this is what my forefathers was talking about. So he's starting to get that confidence because he thinking the Lord dealing with him. A lot of us, we feel like the Lord got to deal with us super personal for him to for us to believe, man. And that's kind of how Gideon was, man. But go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say, man, again, man, going into feeding into confidence and trust. We've all probably been a part, especially if you've been in sports, you've been working out intensely or something like that, man, or you doing something hard, like even like pledging fraternities and sororities and stuff like that, right? What gives you this confidence is there's a poem that says you're only facing what other men have met, right? And I like what this angel said here, because a lot of times in scary situations or unsure situations, there's always somebody there that says, come on, man, it ain't gonna kill you. You ain't gonna die. You know what I'm saying? And it kind of reassures you in the actions that you're about to do, right? Just like this angel said, hey man, you're not finna die. When the angel of the Lord tells you you're not finna die, right? You got to think, man, you know, we don't know what can lie in our lives. We don't know when we're finna drop dead or not. So that assurity and that confidence that's given from the angel of the Lord, that he probably knows what's going on more than you. He tells you not finna die. You kind of straighten up a little bit and relax. You're like, okay, what you got from me? You know what I'm saying? But again, certain things, witnessing certain things and seeing certain things, hearing certain things, especially when we're in this truth. That's why the power of reading is so important, right? We can see certain things, instances like this that will give us that confidence or that Godfidence, right?
Come on, man. You know, somebody tell you you're not finna die. That's when you start seeing people do crazy stuff, right? Especially in this time, right? Whether God tell them or not, right? Or they have some demon that's talking to them, or if they have some dream, they almost become superhumans because they feel like they're gonna be here for a minute. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people make deals with the devil, sell their soul for a certain period of time, right? Whether you believe it or not. And during that certain period of time that they sign a contract, they sign their soul, they going all out. They becoming legends on this earth. And then when they have an abrupt death, they knew that death was coming, right? They knew what time they was gonna die. And then, you know, you look back at their life and see how much great works they've done. It's because they knew that, oh, I'm not dying this year. I can do whatever, right? I was watching an interview with Young and Ace, right? If you don't know who Young and Ace is, it's a young cat from Jacksonville, Florida. He was in beef or whatever they say with Julio Fulio, and they say he put the hit out on Julio Fulio and got Julio shot up in his car, right? But you know, that's besides the point. You know, I know a lot of people don't be tuned into some stuff like that, but Young and Ace in the interview, the guy asked him, he said, man, why you be out in these streets like that? Why you go here if you know people don't like you? He said, oh, I ain't finna die. I had a dream. I'm gonna die old. I already know I'm gonna die. That brother, the young brother off a dream, got confidence that he could do what he wanted in this life, bro. You know what I'm saying? So imagine the angel of the Lord coming to you, right? And the angel of the Lord, hey, God knew he needed to send the angel of the Lord to Gideon because Gideon was scary, right? If you read the story of Gideon, most people will tell you that Gideon was scary, right? But, you know, he got that act right. And, you know, eventually, you know, he got that confidence. We'll see that, right? Let's read verse.
He was the first Jonah, ain't it? Or did Jonah come before Gideon?
I wouldn't say Jonah was scary. Jonah was stuck in his ways. You know what I'm saying? Jonah was so passionate. He didn't think people was worthy of God sometimes. You know what I'm saying? That's how I picked up Jonah. But I see what you're saying, as in the fact that he didn't want to go to a terrible city like Nineveh, right? Because it probably was a scary city, right? But verse 24, right? Let's read that.
The Gideon built, then Gideon built an altar.
Salaki. We're gonna skip down to verse 27.
Verse 27, then Gideon took 10 men of his servants and did as the Lord had said unto him. And so it was, because he feared his father's household and the men of the city, that he could not do it by day, that he did it by night.
Right. So sometimes, man, when you're gaining Godfidence, right, you can't really care about what the people that are around you may think, right? The people around you, may belittle you, may be contagious to the fact that they don't have confidence or confidence, right? And they may discourage you because they're looking at what you have to work with, and they're thinking you're a nobody, right? And if we let that sink into our mind, right, it can be very toxic. So what we need to do is, even if we have to do it when they're not looking, we still have to do it, right? Regardless of how we know others may feel, right? We still have to put that work in, right? That goes for uh the person struggling with insecurities. You know what I'm saying? Hey, even though you think everybody's opinion of you is bad, or you don't have the confidence from the people, you got to have the confidence within yourself, man. Even when you don't know if it's going to work out, right? Let's read verse 28.
Verse 28, and when the men of the city arose early in the morning, behold, the altar of Baal was cast down,
Right.
and the grove was cut down that was by it, and the second bullock was offered upon the altar that was built.
Right. And so this is how Gideon got his nickname Jerubbaal, because he cast down the altar of Baal, right? So his plan worked, right? Of course it worked, though, because he got the plan from the Lord. Right. Let's go to verse 31.
Verse 31, and Joash said unto all that stood against him, will ye plead for Baal? Will ye save him? He that will plead for him, let him be put to death while is it yet morning. If he be a god, let him plead for himself, because one has cast down his altar.
Right. So sometimes, man, the city gonna be against you, man. They're not gonna want you to act on what the Most High God has told you, because they've been deceived in believing into idolatry and things of that nature, right? But we gotta have the confidence enough to just do it, man. Gotta have the confidence enough to just do it, man. Even if we're gonna displease a lot of people, right? That's how Christ walked the earth, right? Have I become your enemy because I told you the truth? Right? We got to become a lot of people's enemy. A lot of people won't understand, and sometimes you won't understand, right? But when you get that scary mission, that scary passion, right, that the Most High God has led you on, man, you gotta act on it, because when you finally see God act on your life, right, that's when you get all the confidence, right? When you see a lot of these celebrities, you see a lot of these people that's made it, got a lot of money, they all had an act of faith. A leap of faith is what they call it, right? A leap of faith. Think about it. When you leap off of a building, when you leap off of something high, right, you get those flutters in your heart, your stomach drops. It's scary until you hit the ground safely, right? That's all a leap of faith is. And a lot of them, they didn't start being super successful in life until after they saw that leap of faith. They still were living after that leap, right? And so sometimes, man, that's what we got to do, right? Let's read verse 32.
Verse 32, therefore on that day he called him Jerubbaal, saying, let Baal plead against him, because he hath thrown down his altar.
Right. And you get new identities, man, whenever you start acting out on your confidence, right? Whenever you start acting out on things that you're supposed to be doing, right? You get a new surname, right? People look at you differently. That's all it is. People are looking at you differently, right? When you start doing miraculous things because of your confidence, people don't see you as the same person no more, right? All of a sudden, you're a star in their eyes, right? You're renowned, right? Let's go to verse 36. We almost done with Gideon, man, but I want to get a few more things from Gideon before we move on, right? Let's go to verse 36.
Verse 36, and Gideon said unto God, if thou wilt save Israel by mine hand, as thou hast said, right, behold, I will put a fleece of wool in the floor, and if the dew be on the fleece only, and it be dry upon all the earth beside, then shall I know that thou wilt save Israel by my hand,
right?
as thou hast said.
right? As thou hast said. Now he sent an angel of the Lord, right? And he gave him commandment. He just, tore down the altar of Baal, right, through the act of God. And yet this man still need proof, right? A lot of us, we are like that too. We see God acting in our life, but we still kind of scared to take that leap. We still kind of scared to jump off the porch. We still kind of scared to profess and claim and start moving in favor, right? A lot of us, and we always talk about this, got that imposter syndrome where we don't feel like we should be where we are, right? I shouldn't be here. I'm not special. I'm not perfect. I shouldn't have got that opportunity, right? But hey, God got you there for a reason, man. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the people that are renowned today that are highly honored and stuff like that, guess what? At first, they probably didn't believe they were supposed to be there either, right? But eventually you start knowing that it's not where you want to be or where you think you should be. It's where God has you to be, right? And if God want to make you a king and a judge, He'll make you a king and a judge. It don't matter who you are, right? Let's get we can read 39.
Con 39. And Gideon said unto God, let not thine anger be hot against me.
Right? Because after he asked him to do these things, of course God gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? God could have got angry and said, "Man, this man trying me, man. I done told him to do it, and he's still not doing it. He asking too much of me." Right? Gideon, and what did Gideon say? Slakia. He said, "If thou wilt save Israel by my hand, as thou hast said, put the fleece on the floor." Right? Salakia. I forgot where I was going with that. But Khan, read 39.
Con, man, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, man, God looking at Gideon like you doing too much, bro. You talking about a fleece and putting dew around it and all of this, like you doing too much. You know what I'm saying? I done told you to do something, and now you coming up with, this crazy scenario that I gotta do for you before you do it. You just doing too much, right?
Right.
It shows a lack of confidence.
Right, man. And gaining confidence is a different journey for everybody. Everybody's given a different measure of faith, right? So you could see somebody acting like real bold and confidence in everything that they do in life. And they're just like, dang, you just like, dang, how did they got that? God got their hand on that person. But you done turned down a whole bunch of stuff that God was trying to work in your life for, you know what I'm saying? Because you was scary, right? Gideon, before he got his confidence, was scary. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna compare after he gets his confidence though, right? Because Gideon was still a mighty man of valor, right? But finish that real quick.
And Gideon said unto God, let not thine anger, what he say? Let me prove, I pray thee, but this once with the fleece. Let it now be dry only upon the fleece, and upon all the ground let there be dew.
Right. So after the Most High God done acted in this man like 2 or 3 times already, he still gotta put another stipulation. He said, "Let me prove." How you gonna prove the Most High God, man?
He said, okay, you did it. Now reverse it.
Right. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us are the same way. We feel like we gotta prove the Most High God. Let me make sure that this God, man. Let me make sure God's saying what He's saying, right? And a lot of us, we feel like we gotta prove the Most High God. Most High God supposed to be proving us, right? We shouldn't be trying to prove the Most High God. But the one thing I can respect about Gideon is he's trying to make sure, right, he's doing what God wants him to do, right? You can be hesitant in a good way sometimes, and um, making sure that you're hearing correctly.
Well, he say he trying every spirit by the spirit, ain't it?
Right.
To his defense, man, there was that one prophet that went and he got begot by a false prophet that told him, nah, God said you could stay, man. When God told him to, hey, get in and get out, and he listened to that false prophet and was eaten by a lion or something like that, right? Yeah. And so
And
you do have to have a level of surety in proving every spirit, but sometimes when the Most High shows you, he already did something that's not a common thing, and you asking him to do more. It's like, but come.
Come, man, you got to understand why Gideon is pretty scary, right? This would be like, right? He's in the land of Manasseh, in the hand of the Midianites, right? His people are in oppression. This would be equivalent to some police brutality breaking out here in America, and God telling you, go get an AR and kill all these police officers and start a big civil war in America. You'd be like, are you sure you want me to start the civil war? Like, I know when prophecy is supposed to happen, but are you sure you using me to start the civil war in America? That's would be equivalent to that. And this is why Gideon's a little scary. He like, all right, now make this fleece dry. All right, make it wet again, because that's a big task that the Most High is asking of Gideon. He's asking Gideon to start a war to get his people out of oppression. That ain't nothing light, right? That ain't nothing that just any regular man could do. But remember what the angel of the Lord told him: fear not, you're not going to die. But see how quickly Gideon forgot about that, just from his situation and his stance, and he hadn't seen it happen yet, right? He hadn't seen the victory yet, so he didn't believe in it. He didn't have confidence, right? All he had to rely on was random stories that have been passed down from his fathers and foremothers. Those same stories that we have to this day, right? And now added on to it, we have Gideon's story, right? Let's go to chapter 7 now. We'll go start at verse 21. Nah, so like we'll start at verse 2. Right? Let's read verse 2.
This is you said Judges 7, verse 2.
7, verse 2.
And the Lord said unto Gideon, the people that are with thee are too many for me to give the Midianites into their hands, lest Israel vaunt themselves against me, saying, my own hand has saved me.
Right? So you think you're doing all it takes to prepare to walk in the calling of the Most High God, and he's saying you're doing too much. You say, I can't work with you doing all that, because you're going to think that it was you, right? You're going to think that it was you. And a lot of times in our life, man, we lack that confidence because, for example, David numbered the people, right? Because for whatever reason, he had started losing confidence in his old age in the Most High God. So his situation kind of scared him. Gideon's situation is scaring him to where he's over preparing. Right? There's some things in life, for example, like if you take the SAT or the ACT or these scholastic tests, these are tests that the MCAT to get into med school, the LSAT to get into law school. You take these tests, right? You're not really supposed to study too hard, because you're supposed to know this stuff already, right? If you study too hard sometimes and you don't give yourself a rest and a break from studying, they say that's not healthy, and they say that you'll end up failing the test, right? So you can't over prepare sometimes. And if you over prepare a lot of times, the Most High God will bring it to naught, because he knows that in your mind, you did it yourself. That's why you see a lot of people, man, they burn out, they fizzle out, because they made it somewhere, right? And when they made it somewhere, they had too much confidence that turned into pride, right? That's the difference. Too much confidence turns into pride. Too much of anything is bad, right? We always say that. Too much water will kill you. Too much fruit will give you cavities. Too much meat will make you constipated and may give you some type of disease. Too much of anything is bad for you. You need a balance of everything, right? So too much confidence will give you pride, right? And if you get that pride, right, God's got to bring you to naught, right? So you could over prepare and make it to your destination, you think, and you say, man, I did this, man. I did this on my own, right? I found a way on my own. Ain't nobody helped me. I did this, right? You think you did it by yourself, and that's why God got to bring you to naught and confound you sometimes, right? He gotta confuse you sometimes, and then next thing you know, people are wondering where you went because you fizzled out You burned out because you over prepared. So he's telling Gideon, don't over prepare, right? Trust that I'm gonna do the miracle, right? And he's telling Gideon, you have too many people. So think about it. God, God has told you to get you out of your oppression, right? For example, here in America, the Most High God is dealing with you, whoever you are watching this, hearing this word right now. He told you, he came to you in a vision. He sent somebody to you as an angel and said, "Hey, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna use you to get your people out of America. But first, I need you to go kill a whole bunch of people. First, I need you to start a riot. First, I need you to start a civil war, right?" That is scary. So you gonna think, okay, what all Israelites do I know that's gonna be down for me? I know the brothers at this camp, they're gonna be down. I know this brother, he always on go. I know brothers at this congregation, they're gonna be down. I need the most numbers I can get. And then you get everybody on board just for the Most High God to say, nah, you got too many people. I ain't trying to, you over prepared, right? So sometimes in gaining our Godfidence, we can't over prepare because over preparing will give you confidence, but it'll end up in pride. Right? Let's get the next verse.
Come, verse 3. Now therefore, go to proclaim in the ears of the people, saying, whosoever is fearful and afraid, let him return and depart early from Mount Gilead. And there returned of the people 22,000, and there remained 10,000.
Right. So sometimes, man, when you trusted in people, they will give you a fake or a facade, a fake confidence, right? You thinking that they with you and that y'all on the same mindset, but deep down inside, they really scary. They don't have confidence. They don't have Godfidence. You thinking they do, but they don't, right? And then they end up ruining, right, everything that you did. So God is telling them to ask. You got to search these people, try these people, right? Because sometimes they won't tell you flat out that they're scared, right? But God is telling Gideon to proclaim and ask to the people, whoever is fearful, to return. And then Gideon sees how many people return. 22,000 people turned around. The people that he thought was there to ride or die, right? So that and so now he's understanding, okay, this is why God's saying, I brought too many people, right? Because some people just gonna say yes because everybody else saying yes, right? So watch who's around you, right? That's giving you confidence. Don't base your confidence on the people around you, because the people around you could be faking it, right? Verse 4.
Verse number 4. And the Lord said unto Gideon, the people are yet too many. Bring them down unto the water, and I will try them for thee there. And it shall be that of I say unto thee, this shall go with thee, the same shall go with thee. And of whomsoever I say unto thee, this shall not go with thee, the same shall not go.
Right? He still had too many. So Gideon's like, come on, man. And it's that get back, because Gideon was asking him to do a bunch of stuff. Now he's getting back at Gideon like, yeah, I'm gonna get you back. Like, yeah, I'm gonna have you repeat stuff for me. You know what I'm saying? And God funny like that. You know what I'm saying? God, sometimes the way you try God, he'll try you. Right, verse 5.
Verse 5. So he brought down the people unto the water, and the Lord said unto Gideon, everyone that lappeth of the water with his tongue, as a dog lappeth, him shalt thou set by himself. Likewise, everyone that boweth down upon his knees to drink.
Right, keep reading.
And the number of them that lapped, putting their hand to their mouth, were 300 men. But all the rest of the people bowed down upon their knees to drink water.
God, right? So God's gonna give you a way to discern who's in your life for good and for bad, who's lapping like a dog and who's bowing before the Most High God on their knees, right? God's gonna let you know. You're gonna know who you should cut off and who you shouldn't cut off, right? And it's up to you to cut those people off if you want to eventually gain that Godfidence. A lot of us, we can't cut the people off because for example, in this situation, Gideon could have been too scared, man, to hear the word of the Lord, and Gideon could have kept those people with him because he thinking he need the numbers. Some of us, we thinking that we need certain people in our life to go the distance, even though God is showing us, cut them off, right? That's a hard thing to do, right? We build these relationships, we build these friendships, man. We build this trust with man, and we thinking we need people in our life, even though we see the signs, we see what they're doing, we see how they're drinking the water, right? And we'll never get, you know, my mom says this all the time too. You'll never get to where you're going until you cut that thing off, that person off, right? That something off, right? You gotta cut it off, man. You gotta leave them behind, or else God's not gonna work in your life. You're never gonna get that confidence to perform miracles, to see things happen with your faith, right? Let's keep reading.
Verse 8. So the people took victory. 7. And the Lord said unto Gideon, by the 300 men that lapped will I save you, and deliver the Midianites into thine hand, and let all the other people go every man unto his place.
Right? By 300. So the man started with about 30,000 though, you know. But now he into 300. By 300. You thinking, man, you gonna have me do the work with him? You gonna have me do the work with this sister? Are you sure? They seem a little scared. They seem a little weak. They seem a little like, hey, God, hey, the Most High know who got that mighty spirit in it. It may be the sister that you think is the weakest got the best faith, right? You may think it's the brother that is the most quiet, but he the most mightiest, right? They'll surprise you because you don't know who the Most High God put his spirit into, man. You know what I'm saying? We looking on the outside, but the Most High God knows what's on the inside. Right? Verse 9. Well, verse 8.
Verse number 8. So the people took victuals in their hand and their trumpets, and he sent all the rest of Israel, every man unto his tent, and restrained those 300 men, and the host of Midian was beneath him in the valley.
Right? So it's time to go. It's time to get busy, man. Time to get busy. It's like it. Verse 9.
Verse number 9, and it came to pass the same night that the Lord said unto him, arise, get thee down unto the host, for I have delivered it into thine hand.
Right? And the Most High God, he wants to give you confidence before you even step into the battlefield, man. He wants to give you confidence before you even perform that miracle, before you even perform the healing. He wants to give you certain signs, right? A lot of times when you fast and you pray, you'll get certain signs before the actual victory is given to you. And you'll have the confidence like, yeah, the Most High God gave me my answer, man. I shouldn't do that. The Most High God gave me my answer, man. It's going to work out, right? That's that Godfidence coming before it even happens, right? I've delivered it into thine hand, right? Verse 10.
Verse number 10, but if thou fear to go down, go thou with Perah, the servant, down to the host.
Right? But if you fear, even though I'm telling you, if you fear, then go with Perah, right? We see Moses did the same thing. If you fear, I'm going to give your brother Aaron, right? Sometimes, you know, the Most High God knows to give us a way of escape so that we can bear it, right? So he said, hey, look, if you do fear, you know, be honest with yourself, go, you know, get Pharaoh. But I'm trying to tell you, like, you got it in the bag. A lot of us, man, we have that brother or that sister that, you know, when we're fearful, we go to them. And that's okay, right? What do y'all think? Is Gideon fearful, or you think Gideon gonna, you know, get his confidence by now, right? Because he done seen a lot of prophecy, man. You know, the prophecy of the people drinking, and you know, he getting 300 men, and that was a prophecy. He done seen a lot of things happen. He done tore down the altar of Baal, right? He done seen the dew dry up and then get wet again, man. So he done seen a lot. What do y'all think? Is Gideon fearful, or is he gonna go with Pharaoh? Let's read verse 11.
Come, verse 11. And thou shalt hear what they say, and afterwards shall thine hands be strengthened to go down unto the host. Then went he down with Perah his servant unto the outside of the armed men that were in the host.
Right? Then when he down with Pharaoh his servant unto the outside of the armed men. right? So he was scared because he got Farah, right? He went down with Farah, right? But nonetheless, he still acted on what the Lord said. So a lot of us we're like Gideon, man. A lot of us we even though the Most High God acts in our life over and over and over again, we forget that He got us that one job out of nowhere. We forget that He got us that one place of residence to live. We forget that He got us that car. We forget that He answered our prayer and gave healing when we prayed for it. We forget that He got us out of certain relationships. We forget that He gave us that random lump sum of money to be able to pay that bill out of nowhere that we prayed and fasted for. We forget those things and we lose confidence, right? And Gideon did the same thing, right? And that's why he was still fearful. That's why a lot of times we still get fearful, right? So the mighty men, the mighty women walking on the earth, they never forget their testimonies and they're the better for it, right? They remember, and so that's why they act as boldly as they do, right?
Salakia, hey, can I don't know if you read it, but did you read Deuteronomy 20
No, I didn't read it.
or have a precept in there? I had a precept that went along with that.
All right, 1 second. Do you know what verse?
Start at verse number, I want to say it's verse number 8, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Khan. Because it goes into what you're saying. Let me see. I don't know if it's started verse.
Yeah.
Khan. So this is when, you know what I'm saying, the Israelites, this pertaining to war, how you should conduct yourself pertaining to war. And if you understand what the brother is saying and going into, a lot of times, man, we had a lot of brothers and sisters in Israel who lost a lot of confidence. And this is why laws like this were written. It says, and the officer shall speak further unto the people, and they shall say, what man is there that is fearful and faint-hearted? Let him go and return unto his house, lest his brethren's heart faint as well as his heart. Right? So we had people going to war and lost confidence, all because, again, like the brother Azrael just went into with Gideon. Sometimes people look at the numbers and feel like, oh, I don't match up well, but not understanding that when you serve the Most High God that we serve, man, it's not about the numbers. It's just about the faith that you have within you, the conviction. And this is why this law was written, because a lot of people didn't have conviction in their heart. So the Lord had to have a law written to say, look, if you scary, you go home, so that way you don't make everybody who want to fight scary further. Because you can do that in life sometimes. And that's why it was expedient for the Most High to have Gideon examine the people who were drinking by the water and how they were drinking, who was on their knees putting their tongue to the water, or who took a knee and then put the water in their hand and brought it forth to their mouth. You got to have certain people around you to accomplish certain things. So if you sit back sometimes and use the wisdom that the brother is giving right now, even the wisdom that's within the scriptures that we're reading from, sometimes you just got to examine who's around you, and you got to remove those people from around you, because they might make your heart faint just like theirs, because they're scary. Now they got you questioning your faith. Now they minimizing the confidence that the Most High gave you. You just got to remember that these things are written for our learning. Come
on, man. Watch the company you keep, because a little leaven leavens the whole lump, man. You know what I'm saying? If you want that confidence, you got to have people walking in confidence by you, right? You got to see God working in other people's lives miraculously for you to believe that He can work in your life miraculously. You got the wrong people by you, man. They're gonna insult your intelligence. You know what I'm saying? You got the wrong people behind you, you're gonna become stagnant in life. You got the wrong people behind you, you're gonna end up in folly, right? And you're gonna end up being complacent because they're scared. You're going to be scared, right? A lot of us, we're scared because of the people around us are scared, right? And if you can't break that barrier, man, you'll never see your full potential, right? So mighty precept. Let's go to Judges chapter 8. Let's start at verse 1.
Judges 8 and verse 1. And the men of Ephraim said unto him, Why hast thou served us thus, that thou callest us not, when thou wentest to fight with the Midianites? And they did chide with him sharply.
Right. So the Ephraimites, right? So keep in mind, man, when Gideon said, if you afraid, go home, Ephraim was in that number, right? Now, when he beat the Midianites, Ephraim's like, man, why didn't you call us, man, so that we could help you? Right? Why didn't you come get us when y'all started winning? And a lot of your friends that you cut off, they're gonna be that way. Right? A lot of, even in the truth, man, you may have some brothers, man, that, or some sisters that don't believe in you, and then out of nowhere, the Most High God use you in the nation. Now you going viral and X, Y, and Z. Then brothers and sisters like, hey, why you ain't doing no interview with me, bro? Why you ain't doing no interview with me? Why you ain't showing up on my podcast? Why you ain't shout me out? You know I taught you that, right, sis, right? You're gonna have a lot of people that come back around, man, and want the fame with you after you broke the barrier, right? After you went through the scary season and they were fearful, they're gonna wanna, take part in your confidence. It's gonna happen, right? Let's read verse 2.
Verse 2, and he said unto them, What have I done now in comparison of you? Is not the gleaning of the grapes of Ephraim better than the vintage of Abiezer?
Right. What have I done to you? Right? What did I do to you? I ain't do nothing to y'all, bro. I let y'all be. I let y'all do y'all thing. Right? Let's read verse 3.
Con, I'll read it. Verse Judges 8 and 3.
I was about to say something real quick though.
Oh, Con, go ahead.
No, I was about to say, it's almost as if he was saying, I thought I did y'all a favor. I didn't know you guys wanted to go to war. I thought I was sending you back to your wife and your kids and the good grapes that y'all are known for. I thought I was doing y'all a favor sending y'all home, and now y'all mad at me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. And sometimes say that they weren't in that number that was fearful, but say that they were in that number that God said was too much and they drank the water the wrong way, and Gideon sent them home, right? Sometimes the people that you cut off, man, they're not gonna like the fact that you cut them off right before your victory, right? Because they're gonna feel like they was right there with you, right? They're gonna feel like they wasn't scared. They're gonna feel like they was, your A1, right? But God called you to cut them off, and now they see your succession, and now in their head they think they were the thing that was holding you back because you didn't succeed with them, you succeeded after them, right? And that is very degrading when somebody sees that you are successful without them, right? A lot of times when we date people in the world, right, when we got boyfriends and girlfriends, right, a lot of times when we move on, right, either the boyfriend or girlfriend trying to move on first and be the happiest, right? And they'll say stuff like, never stay in a bad relationship because what one man won't do, the next man, the next man might, or what one girlfriend won't do, the next queen will do everything that you want, X, Y, and Z. And they're saying that subliminally to make their ex feel bad, right? So the same effect happens here when you are successful after you cut somebody off, after you disappear from somebody, after you stop calling and texting somebody, after there's been a distance and you start doing well, they start thinking, dang, was I holding them back from something? And the good friends will say, well, I'm happy for them. If I was holding them back, I'm happy that our relationship ended so that they can be where they're supposed to be. That's what the good ones will do, right? They'll be understanding. But a lot of times they'll be like Ephraim and they'll be like, hey, man, you know what I'm saying? What you got going on, bro? Why you tell us to go home and you still went to the battle? We thought we thought the battle wasn't happening, right? But come, man, could you read this verse 3?
Verse 3 says, God has delivered into your hands the princes of Midian, Oreb and Zeb. And what was I able to do in comparison of you? Then the anger was abated toward him when he had said that.
right? So he's saying, hey, God has delivered into your hands the princes of Midian, Orb, and Sheep. And what was I able to do in comparison to you? Meaning, he gave our nation the victory, bruh. What is y'all mad for, right? That's like, man, if you do something good on a sports team and your teammate was like, you should have passed me, I'm wide open. Bro, I just hit the game-winning 3. We won. What is you mad for? Then it says that the anger was abated, meaning they calmed down, right, towards him. They was like, all right, bro. It ain't that big a deal, right? Verse 4.
And Gideon came to Jordan and passed over, he and the 300 men that were with him, faint, yet pursuing them.
Right. And I also want y'all to keep in mind too how Gideon is talking now, right? He getting sarcastic with people, right? He done did something mighty. He defeated their oppressors, and now he got that confidence. He talking to people a little different, right? Haters gonna come and he gonna deal with the haters accordingly, right? A lot of times when you get that confidence, your talk will change, right? A lot of times when you get that confidence, your conversations will change, right? A lot of times when you get that confidence, you'll be able to see people better than they see themselves and their emotions, and you'll be able to deal with them, right? To where they can't gainsay or resist what you're saying, and they got to be abated. Their emotions got to calm down because what you're saying is right, right? Verse 5.
Come, verse 5. And he said unto the men of Succoth, give, I pray you, loaves of bread unto the people that follow me, for they be faint, and I am pursuing after Zabah and Zalmunna, kings of Midian.
Right? So he's like, hey, look, the task ain't done. We got to go get these kings. We defeated the people, but the kings are in hiding, man. We got to go get these people. So gird up, get healthy, right? We going right back at it. So now Gideon's focused. He done seen God act in his life. Now he want to keep doing more. And that's what happens when you get confidence. You want to keep doing more. You want to keep being tenacious. You want to keep expounding the boundaries, right? You want to go further than you did the last time, right? You want to add more to your plate because you know that the Most High God with you and you can handle it, right? Verse 6.
Verse number 6, and the princes of Succoth said, are the hands of Zabah and Zalmunna now in thy hand, that we should give bread unto thine army?
Right? That we should give bread. So now, the people is like, well, the people of the princes of Succoth are like, so he's going to these other nations for help. Like when we came out of the wilderness, right? We went to other nations to see if we can pass on the King's Highway. Can we just pass through so our distance is shorter and we don't got to go all the way around? And they would say no, right? Just like this, Gideon is going to these people and saying, hey, can you help me out? I'm trying to get these people out of the way. I ain't got no problems with you, but just help me out, right? And of course, you're going to have some people that hate on you, man. You're going to have some people that feel like, hey, look, what you got going on, I ain't for it or against it, right? You're going to have some people like that, right? And this is how you're going to treat situations like that when you get confidence, right? When you get confidence, this is how you're going to treat it. What did Gideon say?
And Gideon said, therefore, when the Lord has delivered Zabah and Zalmunna into my hand, then I will tear your flesh with the thorns of the wilderness and with the briars.
This brother got so much confidence. He said, oh, y'all ain't trying to give us no food. We ain't doing nothing to y'all. We ain't trying to kill y'all. Y'all ain't trying to give us no food. All right, it's up then. Y'all don't know who on my side. It's up then. You ain't trying to give me that loan from the bank. This bank ain't trying to give me that loan. They must not know who I am, right? For example, like Kanye West. Kanye West was denied from a lot of companies, a lot of banks and stuff like that. Then when he became a billionaire, everybody wanted to work with Kanye, right? And Kanye was saying that, God was on his side. God had his hands on him and stuff. Nobody was believing him. And then when he became a billionaire, everybody want a piece of God, right? So he's saying, when this happens, I'm a give y'all the fear of God by my hands, right? Y'all don't want to feed the men of the Lord. Y'all don't want to help the men of the Lord out. Well, guess what? You'll remember this day, right? What does Wisdom of Solomon 5:2 on down say, right? When we stand on that great day and we can look our people in the eye who we had derision with, right? Who didn't believe us, who treated us wrong, who gainsayed against us, right? Who rebuked us. We're going to be able to look them in the eye and say, what now? Right? When they was passing through the wilderness, right? After they split the Red Sea, they like, God damn, our God done split the Red Sea for us, and y'all still won't let us pass through y'all country? Don't worry about it. We gonna pass through y'all country. Matter of fact, we gonna take y'all country. It's gonna be our land now. Now we dwelling in the land of Moab on this side Jordan, right? But let's read verse 8.
Come. Verse 8, it says, and went up thence to Penuel, and spake unto them likewise. And the men of Penuel answered him as the men of Succoth had answered him.
Right. So he went to another nation, and they said the same thing. And what he tell them?
And he spake also unto the men of Penuel, saying, when I come again in peace, I will break down this tower.
Right. So when you get confidence, man, sometimes people may think that you're talking to them crazy, right? You know what I'm saying? Because you get that confidence, you start walking different, start moving different, talking different. So some would say, like, is this the same Gideon? this man going ham on these people, man. This same Gideon wasn't acting like this a few chapters ago. And that's what confidence will do. So now on the latter part of this, we're gonna get a few examples real quick of confidence the same way, right? The next place I want to go to is 1 Samuel 17 and 33. Right, we're gonna get a few examples now. 1 Samuel 17, 33. We're gonna read about King David real quick. King David real quick. On my notes I got here, shows us through experience in our lives he is with us. These testimonies add up to build our confidence, which is faith, right? It all works hand in hand together, right? So let's see how the Most High God worked in David's life to build him up for a task, right? Let's read verse 33 through 36.
And Saul said to David, thou art not able to go against the Philistines to fight with him, for thou art but a youth, and he a man of war from his youth.
Right. And so sometimes, man, some people they're gonna be against you, man, from the start, because they don't know that God dealing with you. But like we said, your faith is built through the testimonies, right, that God's done in your life. So you know what God's done in your life, right? He may not know what God's done in your life, but you know you're prepared, right? When Steph Curry got to the league, he knew how many shots he put up trying to get to the league throughout high school and college, right? People may look at him like, you scrawny, you're not going to make it, X, Y, and Z, your shot's not high enough. He knew. And look at him now, right? On his King David, right? 34.
Verse 34, and David said unto Saul, thy servants kept his father's sheep, and there came a lion and a bear and took a lamb out of his flock.
Right? And what happened?
And I went out after him and smote him and delivered it out of his mouth. And when he arose against me, I caught him by his beard and smote him and slew him.
Right? Verse 36.
Thy servant slew both the lion and the bear, and the uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeing he has defied the armies of the living God.
Right? So you got to remember the things that God has had you do in your past, man, that are testimonies, so that you can look at the new situation in front of you like, this is supposed to stop me. I've done did this. I've done did that. God had me do this. God did this for me. So I'm not worried about whatever's in front of my face. Really? Really? You know what I'm saying? So that's what happens when you have testimonies, right? God will give you a lion in your life to defeat, so that you always remember that, man, I defeated a lion. Then he'll give you a bear just to, shake the rust off, to let you know, hey, look, you defeated a lion and a bear, right? And next thing you know, you volunteering to beat an uncircumcised Philistine giant, right? That everybody else scared of, but God was dealing with you behind closed doors when nobody was looking. You could have ran away from that bear. You could have ran away from that lion, and no man would have faulted you, right? No sister would have faulted you for running away from that big temptation or judgment. It wouldn't have faulted you. But because you stayed and fought when no man was looking, God added to your faith, right? And gave you confidence. Let's go to Luke 21 and 15 real quick, right? Because after, you get that confidence, you start talking like Gideon. You start talking like David, right? And this is why you start talking like that after you get that confidence, right? Luke 21 and 15.
Con, this is the book of Luke, chapter 21 and verse 15. It says, "For I will give you a mouth and wisdom, which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay nor resist."
Right? So when you get that confidence, man, that confidence, he's going to give you a mouth, right? He's going to give you words to say of wisdom, right? That nobody's going to be able to resist. Right? Nobody's ever going to be able to come up against you or and rebel against what you're saying, or they're going to have to be abated, right? They're going to have to calm down. They're going to have to take a seat, man, because of the things that God has you do and the things that God says through you, right? Let's get First Kings 8 and 27, another example, right? First Kings 8 27, right? The God, 8 and 27, we're going to read about Elijah, the prophet, who had all confidence. Elijah, man, and that's why Elisha prayed for a double portion of Elijah's spirit, right? And it was granted him. That don't mean that he became Elijah. It just means that he got that same confidence. He got that same spirit of confidence that Elijah had to operate in faith and perform miracles, right? First Kings 8 and 27.
Con, this is First Kings 8, chapter 8 and verse 27. And it reads, "But will God indeed dwell on earth? Behold, the heaven and heaven of heavens cannot contain thee. How much less this house that I have builded?"
Right? I don't think that's what I wanted. First Kings 8. Salakia. Salakia.
Put view chapter, that way you can, because normally when I do this, do something like that, it always be like a couple verses above what I was looking for.
I think I might have meant bear with me. Right? Second Kings 1 and 12. Right, we're gonna get an example of the confidence Elijah had. Right? Somebody can read this.
2 Kings 1 and 12. And Elijah answered and said unto them, If I be a man of God, let fire come down from heaven and consume thee and thy 50. And the fire of God came down from heaven and consumed him and his 50.
Right? So the way that he was moving was in great confidence, man. And he was able to call down fire from heaven because of his confidence. We'll be able to do things like that in our lives once we get that confidence from God, which we're calling Godfidence. You'll be able to do things and shock people and have people in awe, right? Once you get that confidence. But to do that, you got to do a few things. You got to remember your testimonies. You got to be willing to cut people off. You got to be willing to be bold, right? And you got to be able to break through the barrier of fear and being scary, right? Just a few more precepts. Let's get Acts 4 and 13. Acts 4 verse 13. Somebody can read this.
Now when they saw the boldness of Peter and John and perceived that they were unlearned and ignorant men, they marveled, and they took knowledge of them that they had been with Jesus.
Right? So sometimes people are going to see your boldness, and that's when they'll know, oh, he got confidence. Somebody been talking to that man. That man done seen a vision of something, right? God talking to that man. God using him. God's hand is on him, right? Because they'll see the boldness of you, even though to them, you're not supposed to have the boldness, because they're going to perceive you as unlearned, ignorant. They're going to perceive you as not being equipped to perform the task, right? And guess what? They'll be shocked to know, oh, God's been dealing with him, right? That's the confidence that Peter and John had to speak boldly, right? And you'll move like that after you see the Most High God act in your life, right? After you've been walking with Christ, after you've done seeing Christ performing the miracles, right? Let's go to Exodus chapter 4 and verse 9. Exodus chapter 4 and verse 9, right? You can read this.
And it shall come to pass, if they will not believe also these two signs, neither hearken unto thy voice, that thou shalt take of the water of the river and pour it upon the dry land, and the water which thou takest out of the river shall become blood upon the dry land.
Verse 10.
And Moses said unto the Lord, O my Lord, I am not eloquent, neither herefore nor since thou hast spoken unto thy servant, but I am slow of speech and of slow tongue.
Right? So Moses, before he seen God act in his life, he was fearful, man. He was scared, right? He making up excuses why he can't do it, right? A lot of us, we get the same way. Nah, God not saying that. He's not going to use me for that. He's not going to put me in that position. I'm not built for it. He knows I'm not built for it, right? And we'll never walk into our confidence if we never take that leap of faith and break through that scary barrier, right? So this is before he got confidence, before God worked in his life. Let's see what happens after, how he talking after God worked in his life, right? After he got confidence, right? Exodus 14, let's go to verse 13, right? Before and afters, right? Before and afters, right? We can read this real quick.
Exodus 14 and 13. And Moses said unto the people, fear ye not, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will show to you today. For the Egyptians whom ye have seen today, ye shall see them again no more forever.
Man, you're going to start telling other people not to fear, man. Once you see God work in your life, you're going to be that encouraging factor for other people, right? Read verse 14.
The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace.
You're going to start reassuring other people once you have self-reassurance. So your confidence not only affects you, but affects the people that surround you as well, right? And this is the way he talking now, right? He talking like he knows for a surety they'll be all right, because he done seen some things happen, right? He done seen a burning bush. He done seen certain plagues and stuff like that, right? Let's go to, he done seen, he done won a magic contest, so to speak, right? With the sorcerers of Pharaoh, right? He didn't think that he could compete with those wise men. But hey, look, the Most High God was using him, and he was doing things that he didn't know he could do, right? Let's read verse 21.
And Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided.
Right? Verse 22.
And the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea upon the dry land, and the waters were a wall unto them on the right hand and on their left.
Right, man. You gotta think they get into the Red Sea, they don't know what they're gonna do. And Moses just stretch out his rod, man. You know what I'm saying? Because he got that confidence. He know everything gonna be all right, even when it looks like there's nowhere to go. Right? Moses was telling people to be assured that, don't be fearful. He gonna fight for us. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes in our life, man, the confidence that we have, we don't know why we said that in that situation, but you be back at home or riding in your car, be like, dang, I don't know how I said that at that time, but that was the right thing to say. That wasn't me. I don't know why I did that or reacted that way, but I'm glad I did, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how I was able to do X, Y, and Z, but God had you do it. And you know it wasn't of you, but you know, those are things that you got to keep in your mind so that you have that confidence and that confidence. Right. I'm gonna end it right there, right? But I do want to say this, and I want to mention some things, man. When you get confidence, I do not want this to happen, right? I don't want it to go to your head, because if it goes to your head, remember what I said, pride will creep in. For example, some examples: Moses and Aaron, they were supposed to speak to the rock. They hit the rock, right? Now, God didn't like that. They wasn't being obedient, right? But it went to their head. They done seen so many miracles happen in life. It could go to your head sometimes. You got to always be humble and meek, right? David, it went to his head with Bathsheba, kind of. You know, God's giving you everything that you wanted. Even God said that I've given you everything that you ever could ask for. Then you just start taking stuff, right? Now, because you know, we see that there's a different speech that comes with confidence, right? That different speech can turn into actions, a different type of action, which is pride, rooted in pride, right? Another one, the disciples were kicked out by a demon, right? And they were asking Christ, why couldn't we call out this demon? Right? Because it went to their head. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes things can go to your head, and next thing you know, you get your butt beat for it. Right? That don't mean that God's not dealing with you still. We see that Christ told the disciples why they couldn't do it and built them up. We see that God punished David, but still built him up, right? We see that that God chastised Aaron and Moses, but still used them a little bit more, right? We see these things. So he's not giving up on you, but you gotta, so you don't fall, right? And you can be perfect in all your generations like Noah. Hey, look, you can't let it go to your head, right? You got to let the Most High God's will be done. Um, and another example would be Christ. You know what I'm saying? Christ could have altered and acted in pride and said, "Man, I ain't got to die, man. I'm already doing my thing." But he said, "Not my will, but thy will be done." Right? He had confidence that he was going to conquer death. So, with that being said, man, confidence, man. I hope you guys was edified. All that watch this or will watch this in the future. Another Sabbath lesson. We're the hopeful elect, and we say Shalom, peace. If you're not gathering, you're scattering.
Shalom.